everyone. This is Focus from the Focus of Love, and I love love. I'm a relationship coach, and we're going to chat up some juicy love. So let's get started. Today, my subject is how to get the love you want and have the life you love. So we need to understand first things first. Everyone wants a soulmate. So your soulmate is looking for a soulmate. So we need to start from the inward out. So let's get started. We want to make sure that the healing has taken place inside of you, which is the evolution of life, right? You're going to always have stages where you need to heal. Life is going to happen. So what is the formula for healing so that you can get on the other side of what that thing is that ate you up, the trauma, the disappointment, the disgrace, the embarrassment? How do you purge that? How do you metabolize it so it doesn't pop up in other areas of your life? So it's 4 stages to healing. There's 4 cycles, if you will, to healing. So the first is to acknowledge that you are hurt, or you were disappointed the way that relationship ended, or that business partner said they were going to be there to the end and they cut out early on you. So you want to acknowledge that the pain is there. That could be a struggle for a lot of people because it actually taps into the ego. The ego says you can't hurt me. The ego says I'm above that. I'm going to take the high road. But our spirit lets us know when there's something there. And how do you know? Is when you hear that person's name, you see a picture of them, or something reminds you, and you get that, that kind of that stank face where you go, something inside of you doesn't, it combine love. It doesn't, gel with that person's memory. That's how you know that something needs to be worked out through there. So first, acknowledging it. So number two is actually allowing yourself to feel it, right? To feel what was that. Now, there's only really 2 emotions in the world, and that's love or fear. Now, we call them many different things, and it's okay to acknowledge those many different things, but that's ultimately where we're coming from. We're either coming from love or fear. So if you're hearing words like they betrayed me, they deceived me, they weren't honest, right? They took their word back. They didn't have integrity. Allow yourself to feel all of that and validate yourself, especially if there was an agreement, there was a contract and it wasn't fulfilled. It's so okay to feel some kind of way as a human being. Be gracious enough to allow yourself to sit in that. And what will it do? It's going to allow it to all come up so you can actually deal with it instead of suppressing it, because that's no good. It's going to pop up somewhere else. So you allow yourself to come up. Then also what you're going to allow yourself to do inside of feeling it, we're going to then shift to the 3rd step, which is actually dealing with it. So allowing yourself to deal with it is a couple of different steps. Here's how you do it. 1, we want to deal with it by looking at the story of what actually happened, and then the story of what you're telling yourself about the story. Now, as a relationship coach, as a life coach, I have many stories and examples to share with you, and I got a couple of juicy testimonies I'm definitely going to share later on. I'm going to start off with myself. So at 18, I got married. I got married to a 21-year-old. We both love God. However, loving God is not enough. Okay, Christian, don't know anything at the computer or your laptop, but it just isn't. You also need emotional intelligence. And when I say emotional intelligence, I'm talking about to be able to fight fair, to have an argument or a disagreement and still make juicy love that night, right? Have your heated fellowship, but know that you're here for the long haul. And for many people, we ask ourselves, can we be married like our grandparents, 30, 40, 50 years? They had a lot of variables to play in that number. But one of them was the point of resolve. They resolved that they were married to death do you part. So that means you can't be mad 4 or 5 days or for a lifetime. So you need to work it through so you can continue to move on and flow in your life, right? So that's one of the emotional intelligence we just didn't have. I mean, we fought to the end of fighting, right? He had 6, it was a total of 6 of them. It's a total of 3 of me, I was the baby. We didn't have the emotional intelligence to walk things through, right? So we found ourselves about 4 years into the marriage. Actually, his mom decided to be a pastor, asked him to be assistant pastor, and now I'm a first lady. So we're only about 20 some years old. We're pastors and first lady, absolutely, definitely not ready. The pressure of women coming to him, the pressure of me having to live in this fishbowl, we both acting out and trying to figure that out. He's going out every night trying to help people in the church. I'm like, dude, I didn't get married to be single. So it was a lot of conflict inside of that. So eventually, unfortunately, he ended up cheating with our nanny. Yes, let's take a deep breath on that. That's all about feeling it, right? So you can deal with it. So the story I told myself about that, right? So we want to take the story and what we told ourselves about the story and separate the two. Now, I told myself that all men cheat. I told myself church people ain't, you fill it in. However, what the story was is that a man who went to church, who also was a pastor, chose to cheat in his frustration of dealing with his life. He made that choice as an individual. So separating that too, I can actually hear the injustice I'm doing for myself and the ability to connect with people. And then I can allow myself to forgive myself, right? Forgive myself on the part that I portrayed in that marriage, which I wasn't the most loving wife, right? At such a young age, I definitely wasn't walking in my femininity at that point. I didn't even have the skill set to do that. So recognizing the part I played gave me a gift. One, it gave me a gift to know that I'm not just the victim here, and I'm not actually a victim. I participated in the way I did. He made his choices. I made mine. Do you hear the relief in that? Everyone can take their responsibility, not blame. Because blame just brings shame and guilt. We don't need no more of that. We got enough negative thought in our head about life and ourselves in general. So we're not looking to blame. We're looking to take who has what responsibility. Now, you may already been saying to yourself, well, folks, you didn't cause him to cheat. I'm not talking about causing him to cheat. He gets to choose what he did with what I wasn't for him as a wife, as well as I get to choose, right? So what am I suggesting? As being a good wife, a wife in the role that he thinks that I needed to be, wasn't done. And his acting out chose him to cheat. That was his choice. He could have went to the gym. He could have went to his mother's home and helped more in the church. He gets to choose what he does, but I can take responsibility, understanding my role wasn't fulfilling to him. Hey, listen, I know somebody's sitting there like, listen, focus. I did the best I can do, and I was a good wife, and he still cheated. Again, we want to separate our responsibility and our roles from the choices the other person makes. Why? Because then I get to look at my part, forgive myself for my part, and have an opportunity to grow into the part that I missed. Miss being effeminate, having my feminine power, talking to him in a way that can help him feel empowered and not isolated and pushed out of the house. So I can take responsibility for that and then allow myself to use it in that relationship if we would have stayed in a relationship, or in the up and coming relationships. Why? Write this down if you're not already taking notes, because if you don't heal the hurts, you will just repeat the pain. It's so imperative to get that. If you don't heal the hurt, you will repeat the pain. So it's so necessary to slow down, to speed up. So inside of dealing with it, I'm going to look at the story. I'm going to look at the story I told myself about the story, and then separate the two, because normally they're overlapped. And as long as they're overlapped, you're going to stay pained, you're going to be suffering, you're going to be upset, you're going to normally fall in the place of victim. So separating the two allowed me to forgive myself. Because before that, I was walking around for about 10 years in pain from that relationship and that betrayal. If you saw me at a gas station, I would get that story out. If you saw me while I was dropping off my cleaners, I would get bleeding over anybody that would listen to that. And it becomes a stench in your life and the people around you. So it's not just for you. It's absolutely just for you, because you want to have a yummy, juicy life. You want to absolutely get the love you want, but also it affects your children, your circle, your job, your business, your ability to have healthy relationships when you don't heal the hurt. So it's so necessary to heal the hurt, or you'll just repeat the pain. So separating the story allows yourself to forgive, and then it gives birth to the next stage in your life. We still on the 4 points. I'm sidebarring so you can see the power of what it is to forgive. Then when you forgive and yourself first, you're likely and so much more gracious to forgive someone else. So I was then able to forgive him as my husband, that he cheated with the nanny. I was able to forgive the nanny and go, wow, it was circumstantial. This is not excuses. Just looking at the what so. They were so in close proximity at our home, at church, you could definitely see how it happened. Whether it should or shouldn't, you can see how it happened. Why? Because you also want to learn from these lessons. It's not just about how bad can I hurt, it's what lesson was this supposed to teach me? What can I get out of it? How can I make this into something that's going to be beautiful and birth hope and joy and love to others? And this is exactly how the focus of love was created, from me getting on this side of the healing and recognize and listen, for the most part, most people are doing the best they can do right where they are with the information they have and the circumstances and resources that they have. That graciousness allowed me to recognize my ability to be a wife was very limited, given the relationship with my mom. My mom was a cooker. She made sure the house was clean, but her emotional intelligence was much to be desired. She was the second generation of foster care, unfortunately. Yet, fortunately, her number one goals were to make sure her children stay in the house. No one took her children, right? And to make sure her children get a high school diploma. Now, for her, that was huge. That was her world, but that's still in survival mode, right? So it didn't give me the emotional intelligence to know that at such a young age, one, you don't have to pick to get married to get out of that household. See, my mom was suffering because she had not resolved the issue. She had not healed the hurt. So she was repeating the pain by making me feel like, the sun was beaming down on this flower. It was nothing I could do right. So when there came an opportunity for me to leave the house, I was welcoming it. So when this young man is offering to marry me, I was like, yes, let me get away from this craziness. So again, it's not to blame her, it's for everyone to take responsibility. And it allows me to take the responsibility that I didn't necessarily marry him for love. I married him to get out of a bad situation. Ouch. I know that hurts, right? A lot of times when we see decisions and we go down a little further, we'll see the nastiness, or the ouch, or the wow, you really did it for that reason, underlining. So as a life coach, I get to help people look at that in a safe place so you don't come up feeling shamed or guilty. But I too was hurting and in pain and wanted to get out of that relationship. So you may say, well, Focus, that was really young. Why would you do that? And that's a great place to live. Asking people why and understanding people will also get you the love you want. Allow yourself to be in other people's shoes. Now, listen, that don't mean you need to agree with them, but getting someone else's world, you give them a gift as well as yourself, because then you know how to do the dance called being with another human. You know how to dance, and you'll be able to get along with so many other people when you get their world. Doesn't mean, I really want you to write that note now. It doesn't mean you need to agree with their world, but getting that world will let you know how to even speak to them, to possibly even elevate their world and give them a different perspective that might, in your opinion, be more whole, more perfect, more complete. So talking at someone is never more effective than talking with someone. So we're still on there. We're on the third step. We said, how do you heal the hurt? How do you heal the hurt? You acknowledge it, you feel it, and you deal with it. Now, once you deal with it, you get the story, and the story you're telling about the story, you separate. You allow yourself to forgive in that story, because then it will give you the opportunity to forgive that other person, because now you got in your world. You recognize all of the responsibility you had, and now you're open to really look at, okay, how could I have affected this situation? It's called responsibility, not blame, not shifting, not giving them excuses for what they did and didn't. It's looking at it from a more sound point of view and getting their world. Then you're more gracious to actually forgive. And then you're going to ask yourself, what was the purpose? See, some people wake up and they know, they want to hug the trees and save the well. They know their purpose. Namaste, we need you, God. But most people's purpose is derived from some kind of pain or trauma that's healed. So you got to get on the other side, because the process and the journey of getting on the other side gives you the strategic studies and steps on how to teach other people, right, to heal that hurt or to get over that obstacle, hence your purpose. So now the focus of love is thriving with helping thousands of people how to heal the trauma from being cheated on. And we know that half this country, it says 54% of men cheat, 47% of women cheat. Well, that's just for those who admit it. So this is a thing that's not going anywhere. It's going to happen. And honestly, listen, we can talk about this on a one-on-one together, but honestly, it is not the worst thing that can happen in a relationship. There's a whole lot of other things that can happen far worse than cheating. And can you heal from cheating? Absolutely. Now, that relationship you had before is dead. So you'll need to create a new relationship and build a whole new level of trust. So you want to ask yourself, what was the purpose of that pain, that suffering? God, who or universe, whoever you serve, what is the next level to that? Where you want me to go with that? What was the point of that, right? Because it absolutely is for us. I believe our trauma, our situations, or what happened rubs us to get us a little closer to God, get us a little shinier, buffer us to get to a higher frequency. So it's a lesson to be learned. So birthing the focus of love was my biggest lesson. Now I get to wake up every morning and go, God, who do you want me to help heal the hurt? Who do you want me to speak life into them and help them to recognize their purpose? That's living on purpose. That's getting the love you want. And part of getting love is the six of human needs is called significance. Right? So the hierarchy, Maslow hierarchy of needs is 6 human needs, and one of them is significance, and that's normally the number one. So I get to be significant in other people's way of finding love, of healing from hurt, and finding purpose. What is your purpose? What was the purpose of your pain? What was the purpose of your trauma? See, we're all going to have upset and trauma in our life. Well, somebody just said, well, Focus, I had a great life. I've never been traumatized. You're probably one of the ones that's traumatizing everybody. So you sit a little closer and take more notes, because we're going to cause upset simply because we're all trying to, birth our soul to a higher level. So we're going to say things, we're going to do things, we're figuring it out, we're learning. It's the nature of being a human. Write down that note. If we could just get that, so we don't take it as personal when something's said and done to us, we recognize, this person is being human. They're working out their humanity themselves. So it doesn't excuse it, right? You're going to hear me say that. But getting their world can take the sting out of it and allow you to heal through the process and with velocity versus holding it to your heart and being the victim. I know I parked there for a little bit, but it was so necessary, because you said, well, hey, Focus, you said you were going to tell me how to get the love I want. Well, the love you want is first to love yourself and understand the dance of humanity before you can even dance with someone. Understand the particulars of how the human mind thinks, which we're all trying to do the best we can do for the most part. So when you're in that intimate relationship, you're gracious to that person, understanding that, not picking them apart and just asking for more, and more. You with me, guys? Because here's what you got to know. Write this one down. Your soulmate is looking for a soulmate, right? Your soulmate is looking for a soulmate. So just as much as you have a list, they have a list too. So who do you need to become to generate your soulmate in your life? Because they're looking for you like you're looking for them, but the frequency got to get up there, got to resonate in a way that you draw one another. So there we go. We have the acknowledgement, we have the feeling, we have the dealer, and then the healing. So the healing takes place and it looks like this. I forgive myself and I forgive the other person. It's just that simple. It's simple to do, but it takes something, because you're going to have triggers where things will pop up in your mind. You'll want to know, how often did you cheat? Or why did you steal that money? What did you do with the money? Talking to your business partners, right? So things were going to come up that you still need to flush the conversation out with, right? So a smell, a perfume will go by and you go, oh, my wife used to, I don't believe she cheated. And you'll get all of these triggers and you'll have to use those 4 steps again, over and over, till it dissipates, where there's nothing left there. It's a process. It is not a one and done. And you absolutely, let's dispel this myth. You do not forgive and forget. It doesn't exist unless you have some kind of, disease of short-term memory or long-term memory. You're not going to forget. So we're trying to measure up to something that's not even possible as a human being, that we're supposed to forgive and forget. That's a lie. What you want to do is forgive and utilize the forgiveness, the story, what had happened, the whole process of that lesson as purpose. What am I to do with that? Whether it's just simply to teach your children, or like myself, you become a life coach and get certified and a public speaker and build a whole business around the whole process that took me through. And now I have an 8-week course where I teach people to create the love they want and have the life they love. So it took me from the whole process started at 16 So I was like 35. And now I created an amazing course of 8 weeks where I teach people to with velocity to get through that whole process, because we all got to process our childhood. Because somebody was told at third grade that you're stupid, and now you have 5 degrees because you had to prove them wrong. See, that's just existing. That's not living either. Namaste. So proud of you. Got 5 degrees. But if it's coming from the proving, right, versus the living and purpose, that's a different source of energy. That's a different source of purpose. And we want to slide into purpose, because that's when life gets good. That's when life gets juicy, when you're coming from your purpose. When you're waking up in the morning, how do I serve? How do I fulfill myself, take care of myself, and serve others inside of whatever your purpose is? And it could be so many. And it's for you to declare. It's not like God's going to peel back the sky, the universe, or whoever you serve, and just whispered in your ear. You get to decide. God gives us the autonomy to live a scrumptious, juicy life by design and by our thinking, right? So, and you get that privilege, and it's a privilege in So how do you get the love you want? First, loving yourself, healing those hurt, having the tools and emotional intelligence that know when you get offended, when someone, when there's a trauma, when there's a deceit, that you actually know how to work through it, and work through it with velocity. Now, velocity is relative, whether it's a day or 3 months. What I don't want you to have to do is go through what I did for 10 years. See, for 10 years, I traveled around the world, around the country, about 37 states, going to conventions, workshops, and seminars, looking for how to forgive, how to dance the dance of relationships, what causes people to cheat, what causes people to offend and traumatize one another. Why do we act out? And it's called the crucible. Most of us are trying to still work through what had happened was in our childhood, and it manifests in our teenage years, our adult years, and relationships. So until we figure out and make peace with what our childhood, we'll keep recreating those relationships that don't work. Woo, that was a nugget right there. Write that one down. Write that one down right there. So one of the things I ask my clients to do is I want you to create a list of 5 top things that have traumatized you, upset you, something that's still ringing in your spirit. It kind of drives you in your life, right? It could be your 3rd grade teacher said you are smart and you're going to be the top of your class. So now you're driving to do that thing, even though there's so much more for you to do, but now you're being pushed by those words, right? So good, bad, or indifferent, it can have some effect, resounding effect on your life that you're not even really participating in it. It's just driving your life in the background. So I ask people to write those 5 things down. Then in our session, I actually help them break down those 5 things in those 4 cycles that I just told you about: how to acknowledge it, how to feel it, how to deal with it, right? And then how to heal from it. And in those 5 things is your purpose. Is what's going to drive you, is what's going to share with you what your next relationship is, or how to purge inside of this relationship that you're already in to make sure it's working the best and most efficiently. See, those 5 things is going to dictate to you so many peaceful clarity, so much peace and clarity about who you are and how you're to live this life. See, when you live in your purpose, right, life just gets juicier. The water tastes crispier, and the sky is blue, because you have clarity of where you're going. Now, you still got to make decisions as you're going there, but everybody can't call you with another shiny thing or another opportunity. You can size it up. Here's my purpose. Does that match, or does that walk inside of the fulfillment of my purpose in some way? So if it doesn't, it's easy to say no. It's so much easier to be at peace with that no. Right? So it gives you a different space of how to actually live your life. So that's how we get the love we want and have the life we love inside our individuality. Now let's shift a little bit. So for those that like focus, I came here to boo love. I'm looking for some romantic love. I'm looking to, I want to, ignite my current relationship. I want to get in a current relationship. I'm dating and I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly. I'm single and I'm scared to date. This is for you. This is for you. So I have an amazing book called What is the Focus of Love? And when you purchase that book, it's only $7. You purchase that book and you actually get it. It's an ebook. You'll get it very quickly. And then you'll be able to schedule a 30-minute one-on-one with me. let's chat. Let's create all of that for you because it's very personalized. So that 30 minutes is a very personal conversation. We do an assessment and create an amazing 8-week session for you and I to create the love you want so that you can get the life that you love. It's a very personalized journey because, as I already shared, in the back of our mind is our childhood relationships really running the show. So until we work through those, right, all of, dad stayed, he left, or they both were still in the house, but they were miserable, barely spoke to each other, or it was a happy, hunky-dory home, but for some reason I keep attracting men that I really don't like, or their finances is too low or too high, their mentality is not where I want to be. We want to really take a look and visit that. We want to construct what your life needs to be to get the love you want and have the life you love. So let me share this with you. Inside of getting the love that you want, walking in your femininity, ladies, that's the number one goal. And how do you do that? For me, I didn't even have that perspective. My mom's feminine finesse was being able to cook 3 meals from scratch. My mom had cookie dough in the refrigerator for any reason and no reason at all that she made. So if anybody wanted cookies, she literally had the batter in there that she made from scratch and can drop a few. She woke up at 4 a.m. to make my father's breakfast once upon a time so that he can get off to work, full belly, right? That was her feminine finesse. But the whole dance of how to get along with the man, I missed that. I didn't get to see that because they just didn't have that kind of relationship. Plus, I was very young when my father actually passed away, so I didn't get to experience that. And then my 2 older brothers was so tumultuous watching my mom deal with them because my father got killed. My mom had so much bitterness and hurt that she didn't know how to dance with anybody. So watching her with my 2 brothers was normally very shocking, very abrupt, and very brutal. So I grew up as a young girl on the basketball court, softball, volleyball, talking smack and junk to fellas. So again, I didn't know the finesse, right? So this is an art, ladies, to be able to walk in your femininity. You hear this, some women like, take me or leave me. You're going to be left, boo. It's so many options out here for men to have, and they want someone they're not in competition. They want someone that brings them peace and comfort. Peace and comfort. Definitely not competition about who makes the most money, who got the biggest business, the biggest house, car, the best dog. No man wants to be in competition with his own feminine power, ladies. You can playfully, there might be some play inside of what it is to be competitive. That's always fun and juicy. Ain't that like some, good hot sex you playing with and having some toys with one another and enjoying each other's company? That's wonderful. And you can kind of see how you can outdo loving one another. That's one of the games I play with my couples after we do the 5 love languages and learn what that is. We try to outlove one another in a playful way. But to actually be in competition with their feminine power, that's a definite no-no. You will push your man away or not even get a man. But if you have one, you absolutely will push him away and shut him down. And then you'll be having conversations of, why don't you talk to me? Why don't you express yourself? You never show emotion. Well, you taught him not to. Because who is he? If you're the masculine power, then who is he? So you have him lost and confused about what it is to be. See, you may be a manager and a CEO in your life, in your workplace, I should say. But when you come through that door, we need to take that hat off and decide what are the roles in this household? What is the structure, right? So we got your CEO, we got your manager, your second level, your workers. That's at work. That's in your corporate job. But when you come home, what's the dance that you and your husband have created with one another? It doesn't always look traditional, but you all get to say. But what you can do is walk in like you're the manager at home. You're going to shut the home down, and there's no love and feminine power in that. And that's why he attached himself to you. He didn't want more of himself. He didn't want more of himself. He wanted to be able to embrace the feminine power of who he is, if you will, if you believe in that, bell curve and that there's male and female energy. That's why he wanted to connect to you, to bring him out at a different level in a different way. And give yourself the gift of knowing how to be, I'm getting ready to say a dirty word, and don't throw anything at your computer, submissive. And we can teach leadership. We can coach up as women and give our man the power to be a leader, to help him make decisions and back off. Sometimes it's so okay Back off, let them see and build the muscle of what it is to be a leader by giving them decisions, saying, honey, I know you'll make the right decision. Let me know what you come up with. I look forward to hearing it. And trust it. Listen, if it's not life and death, ladies, it is so okay. I know you run the ship back at the job, at the office, and your home-based business. But in order to create the balance and the desire of what you want that man to be, you have to give him the opportunity the same way we do when we do our junior staff, when you're teaching them and you're mentoring them. If you hover over them, they'll never be a leader. So being able to be in your feminine power and push him back sometimes and allowing him to be who he's designed to be, or coach him through it and go, I know you can do this. I believe in you. When is the last time you spoke life into your man's life? When is the last time you really loved on him? Do you know his love language? I sat down with a woman, a client the other day, and she and I was talking. They were together 3 years, and she said, oh, he cheated, and he wouldn't come, and sit with me and watch a movie and, hold my hand. Even if we went down, to Penn's Landing, that would have meant so much to me. So I asked her, I said, I totally get it. I know I'm there with the cheating. I so understand. And let me ask you a question. You guys were together 3 years, right? She said, yes. I said, what was your love language? She said, oh, yeah, physical touch, quality time. You're right. I said, great. I said, what was his? And she paused and she said, I don't know. I said, I recognize he cheated. That was totally his responsibility. And you're asking a man to be faithful to you when you don't even know how to love him. And given his emotional intelligence and his ability to problem solve, what did you really expect? Don't get upset, ladies. I don't equate that every time a man is upset or not getting fulfilled, he should cheat or he is going to cheat, because every man doesn't. Some people, they actually go get another job. They get a hobby, they work out, they go visit family. However, she led with the betrayal of him cheating. Yet the first betrayal happened, which is you didn't study your man and make sure he was fulfilled. And yet you ask him to be a lawyer in a relationship, but when a young lady or some other woman comes along and begins to fulfill him in a way, and he get caught up in it and end up having sex and moving out the home and y'all break up, there's something to be responsible for, not blame. Not blame. Now, they were friends enough that she was able to, I said, listen, this is your homework. I want you to reach out to him and ask him what is his love language. Tell him what the 5 love languages is and ask him. And then I want you to have that conversation and say, I apologize. I did not ask you that. I did not give that to you in the relationship, because they already cleaned up the whole cheating. He already apologized, right, ladies? We're not going to step over the violation. So we're going to work smart and not hard. We're not stepping over the violation. It was a clear violation and breached the relationship. But what also is a breach of the relationship is, especially when you're married, love till death do you part. Now, how can you love him if you don't even know his love language? How can you connect if you don't even know how to connect with your feminine power? So it's your job to walk in your feminine power. So also you grab my book called What is the Focus of Love? It's only $7. It's an ebook. I get it to you in 30 minutes and we can design your feminine power. You might say, well, Focus, you should have saw my mom. She was pretty rough. I don't even know where to start. I am here to do that with you. You don't have to figure it out alone. Listen, it took me 10 years to figure it out. I wish I had someone that can hold my hand and say, let's do this together. Take my learning curve, and with velocity, you can absolutely get the love you want and have the life you love. Now, we'll wrap it up with this, which is, I want you to really get that the love you want comes from within. It doesn't necessarily instantaneously produce a spouse or significant other. It is a generation of love of how you relate to yourself, how you relate from human to human. How do you relate to your job? Being playful, having fun, exercising, your body, your food. That will exude love. That will exude joy. That will exude to the frequency that you need to put up there so your soulmate can find you, because he's looking for you too, ladies. What you're looking for is looking for you. So that first love starts in here, and it will pan out. Listen, your job might not change, nor your business, but the frequency, the love and the joy, the passion, your creativity for the next product will increase. See, your car might not change, but it'll be more clean because you'll recognize this is my space and I want cleanliness around me, right? Your mother or dad, they can't change. You only get one of those, but the relationship will get juicier because you'll realize, you know what, she does like bingo. Let me stop trying to force her to read more books and deal with her pain. And she need to go to therapy because she traumatized me. And I'm going to simply go to bingo with her. I'm going to get in her world instead of trying to convert her to be more what I think she should be. That's where most relationships are hindered. We have an expectation and a standard normally far greater than we actually hold ourselves, that we want other people to live up to. That will not get you the love you want. And the get to love you want will come from within. What you will birth about who you are and your actual essence and being that you get to give to each person that's standing in front of you. And that will bring you love, period, whether it's romantic or not. And the more you feel loved and juiced up about life, he coming, ladies. And you're giving birth to the current relationship you in for those that are already married, or the fiance. The more you're loving yourself and walking in your purpose, you'll go, is he the one for the next 30 years? And really ask yourself that question earnestly, not from a fear of loss, but because you really want to live through your purpose. And you'll be able to sit them down and go, this is the vision of what I see about our relationship. This is the kind of man I need. And listen, if you are great, if you're not, that's okay. I want you to get the love you want, and I definitely will get the love I want. So we both can have the life we love. Are we on the same page? Where you can really ask true questions so you can design your life and not just allow it to happen to you. You get to say how it's going to go. If you don't remember anything else I said throughout this entire time, remember two things. You got to heal the hurt so you won't repeat the pain. And when you heal that hurt, you will create the love you want and have the life you love. This is Focus from the Focus of Love. It's been my plum, please, and pleasure. You don't have to do it alone. You definitely don't have to suffer in silence, because I have suffered enough and rode around this country, 37 states, got licensed as a life coach, authored several books and ebooks so that you don't have to go through that pain alone. Come on, go ahead and purchase your book. It's at $7 for ebook. We're going to get that right over you with the scheduling link for your 30 minutes. And you and I are going to sit down and design your life so that you can truly have what it is that you're longing for and you fall asleep dreaming about. We're going to make that a reality. This is Focus from the Focus of Love. Bye-bye.